So let's focus on a topic that we never cover here on Talking Shots. The 90s.
The 90s. The 90s. 1992. By 1999. In the mid-90s. In the 90s. In the 90s. The 80s and 90s. The 90s.
Back in the late 90s, especially around 1998, some of the biggest genres within gaming were third-person shooters and, of course, the flavor of the year, platformers. Now follow me here. What if you got a third-person shooter and mixed it with a platformer and made one of the most unplayable games to ever exist? Well then, let me introduce you to Blasto. I'm Oki Castro, and this is Talking Shots.
Sword sheath, it's the return of the blade and slice shade, getting paid until my silhouette fades. A mercenary, spit to levy versus scary stage, doing girlies dirty, splitting with obituaries. Death is not a factor, more than just a rap.
So Blasto was released in 1998 in the midst of the whole platforming craze. Everybody wanted to get a little bit of that Super Mario 64 money. Now Sony, trying to build up more hype for their PlayStation console, knew that they could take advantage of this hype and create something that was, a little bit more edgy while also appealed to the general fan base of the late 90s. So, crude sex jokes, muscles, hot babes, and my favorite, outer space. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, that sounds pretty fucking lit. On paper, but if you really think about it, in practice, we end up getting Duke Nukem Forever. Still though, Blasto showed a lot of promise, and even Sony saw that from the amount of hype that they were creating around it and the fact that they were promoting it so hard, including it in a lot of those old school Pizza Hut demo discs and other demo discs that they would release. The biggest issue was that every studio is a Nintendo, and many weren't ready for the technical difficulties that came with making a 3D platformer. And sadly, that includes Sony Interactive when they developed Blasto. So what really plagues this game, and what really stops it from being something so much deeper, is its inability to make Blasto do what the fuck you're telling him to. It's one of those, let me run up, stand completely still, aim my motherfucking shot, and try to hit you while you run around in weird fucking patterns. But I'm standing still, so you take free aim at me. It's like tank controls if your tank was designed by a liberal arts major. Literally, their shots hit you harder than your mom when she found out that I was buying all these
When she found out?
And if it wasn't bad enough that dying is so incredibly easy in this game, the save and checkpoint system is horrible. You could go play for about half an hour and you won't get a checkpoint until, midway through the freaking level. Health boosts are almost non-existent within the game. Power-ups are useless because you have the only power that you need. The ability to die super fucking easily. So as much as I'm shitting on the controls of this game, one thing it does do right is it creates a lot of really good ambiance, and some of the level designs are really original and unique. Kind of reminiscent of Ratchet and Clank. They have these really vast levels, but they also make it very obvious where your end goal is, so you don't get lost too much or really have to backtrack all the way to the beginning too much. Obviously, most of the background and parts of the level that you don't really need to interact with are left unrendered or in black, which at first seems like a really good way to save, processing space, but it also tells you where not to go, like don't jump where it's completely dark and you don't see what the fuck you're doing. And that's the thing that kind of kills me about this game. As much as I want to praise the level design, while some are incredible and some are pretty in-depth and I think ahead of their time for when this game came out, others are just so bleak and uninspiring. This game is able to create a level of comic fun and zaniness that really propels Blasto as a main character. He's dim-witted, he's funny, he's super macho, a lot of the stereotypical qualities that you would see in characters at this time period. To be honest, he's like Johnny Bravo if you put him in a spacesuit. Blasto was voiced by the late, great Phil Hartman, a very, very famous and talented voice actor. And he had so much character to Blasto, it kind of motivates you to want to play more of the game, just to hear his cheesy one-liners or fucking random quips. It just really sucks that the rest of the game stops you from enjoying that. The thing that also irks me so much about Blasto is that it is so platforming heavy. And it sucks because some of the simplest things that a platformer needs, it fucks up at. Just jumping from a ledge to a platform, the point of platforming is nearly impossible in Blasto. It is so space specific, it is so timing specific that even just one miscalculation could throw you off the platform and then you die and lose one of the only valuable things in the game, your lives. And that's the other thing about the game. Even the early levels are so hard when you're just trying to jump from one thing to another. Imagine later on in the game when they start giving you harder platforming options and harder puzzles you have to solve. It nearly becomes tedious. It becomes a task. It becomes so hard it's not even worth playing at that point. You spend more time being mad at the game than actually enjoying its small nuances. It encapsulates the 90s aesthetic in such a way that it's almost a timepiece of when it came out. Honestly, they could have put a whole skateboarding section within the game and it would not have been out of place. The controls are so wonky, the level design is so uninspired, and the live system is so unforgiving. It drives you away from a title that otherwise could be something incredible. This game is a hidden gem, but it's hidden under so many layers of shit, it's not even worth taking the time to appreciate it, considering how many other platformers do the same, but better. But you know what could really save the name of Blasto? Really save the idea of this one game that could have been, but never was. Know what it could be? An HD remake developed by Naughty Dog. Fuck yes, I want that! Make that game! So just for the sake of this video, I actually went back and played Blasto, and it made me realize that there's a lot of hidden gems, which I may not have ever played, or games that have a lot to offer that might be hindered by one thing or another. Do you guys have any that you want to recommend? Or even just games that you feel are very underappreciated? Comment it below. Yeah, that was weird.
Comment below.
Pussy, comment below. So comment below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, Facebook. I'm Mookie Castro, and this is Talking Shots.